You know, my sisters and brothers, I have to tell you the truth. I was hoping that Jesus would take it a little further and say his son-in-law against his mother-in-law, and I would say, yes, I got him. He told me to do it in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Spirit. But you know, my sisters and brothers, we're doing a little bit of that right now. No, it sounds like it, but you and I, we're doing that. In my 55 years, I have never seen this country so divided. Never. It breaks my heart. You know, I see such good people get caught up in all this noise that they start judging people. And you know, judgment is mine, says the Lord. We're going to take his job away from him. I see good people much better than me, much better, start name-calling. Division. Proverbs teaches us that a house divided will not stand. Our own Pledge of Allegiance says, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I know some of you right now are sitting there saying, well, that's the reason they're taking God out of the schools, they're doing this, you're judging. You got to stop. That's not what Jesus is talking about here today. It's not so much about division, but rather adversity. It's about overcoming the obstacles in our life. It's about overcoming jealousy. It's about overcoming our pride. It's about overcoming hatred. And the only way we can do that, my sisters and brothers, is with love. With love. You know, I don't know if any of you are on Facebook, but if you are, go under Deacon Bob. Please connect with me. Last couple of weeks, I posted this quote by Martin Luther King Jr. 2 times. See, darkness will not drive out darkness. Only light will do that. Hate will not drive out hate. Only love will do that. Jesus says today that I've come to set this world on fire, and how I wish you were already blazing. What kind of fire, though, my sisters and brothers? Because there's a fire that can bring warmth. There's a fire that can bring light. There's a fire that can bring purification. That's the fire he's talking about. The fire that will give us nourishment through using it to cook. That's the fire. But there's another kind of fire, the kind that kills and burns till nothing's left. And sometimes that's what you and I want to do. We want to be that fire. We want to kill all the evil. Who says it's evil? We do. We're the judge. We want to just burn that evil, and then we're going to be okay. Guess what, my sisters and brothers? That is not our job. That's not. Now, I want to share this story with you. I've shared it with you years ago. Now, my youth are going to recognize it a little bit more because I share it with them more on retreats and some people that aren't so young anymore. But it's a story about a Cherokee Indian. When a young Cherokee Indian boy is about to leave the women and children and ride with the men, they have to go through this ritual. And they're taught about it ever since they're born. Since they're born, they're going to say, there's this great day that's going to come. This great day that you're going to be tested, but all the spirits are going to be with you in your heart, and you're going to be okay. And they're preparing him for this great thing that he has to go through. And here's the way it works. When that big day comes, he gets dressed up. The women dress him up in all his ceremonial garb, and everybody gets dressed up. And he stays with the women and children for a second, and they're singing. And then the men start coming out in their ceremonial garb, and they start going out in a circle, but they leave a spot. And then the father brings them into the middle of that circle. And then all the men are dancing around him, dancing and singing with joy because this great day has come. And then what they do, the men as they come, they get in 2 flanks. And they keep the young men in the middle, and they start walking and singing and dancing and walking and singing and dancing for hours. For over 2 hours, they walk into the woods until they come to the spot where this big stump has been prepared. And the way that it works is the father puts the child on that stump, and he blindfolds him. And he has to stay on that stump all night long without taking the blindfold off. He cannot take the blindfold off until the light of day comes in. And he dares not, because he knows that if he does, and he's been prepared for this, he's going to have to go back to the women and the children. So they get there, and they put him on the stump, and they blindfold him, and they sing, and they dance around him, and all of a sudden the singing gets more distant, and more distant, and distant. So you can't hear it anymore. And there the boy sits on the stump, blindfolded, all night long. Now, suppose you're on that stump in the middle of the woods, blindfolded, all night long. What are we going to do? We're probably hear some noise. I'm 55. I'll probably jump up on the stump and say, "Oh!" Nobody's there to hear me, so I don't know what I would do. But you have to keep that blindfold on. But this young man, we start feeling things brush up against us. We start hearing noise. We imagine things in our head. And then all of a sudden the light, he's sure that the light's coming through, but he wants to wait. He wants to wait because he doesn't want to take it off too early. And finally he knows that the light's there and he goes, "Oh yeah." And he pulls it off. And when he pulls the blindfold off, his father is right next to him. And his father's been there all night long. His father's not going to leave him, and he's never going to leave him. You see, my sisters and brothers, that's what we're going through right now. We wear all these blindfolds. We hear all these blindfolds represent the noise. Hebrews tells us that we are to rid ourselves of any burden, any sin that clings to us. We're to persevere in running the race, keeping our eyes fixed on Jesus. Because when we can do that, then the blindfolds can come off. That's what the burden and the sin are, the blindfolds. You might have that blindfold. Sometimes we're divided in ourselves. We just will not allow ourselves to be free, maybe because of something that we did, maybe because people have been telling us that we're not good enough all our lives. I don't know. But that's the blindfold. You got to take it off. Jesus doesn't want you to carry that burden. See, that's why he did that. So we can keep our eyes fixed on him. With the blindfold, we can't keep our eyes fixed on Jesus. Take it off. Be free. Don't be divided against yourself. In your families, you might be wearing that blindfold saying, "I'm not going to forgive them. They really hurt me. There's no way I'm going to forgive them." Who's really being hurt? The more you hold on to that, the deeper that pain goes, the more hurt you have. That's a blindfold. That's a burden. Take it off. Be free. God wants you to be free. Sometimes we wear the blindfolds that say, "It's not fair. They're taking what is mine." Sometimes we wear the blindfold that said, "I deserve more than this." That's blindfold. That's burdens. That's not going to get you to the next step. Now, it's pretty hard to do this, but Hebrews tells us that we have a cloud of witnesses. You know what that means, my sisters and brothers? We have all the angels and saints, some canonized and some not canonized, that have gone before us, that have shown us how to live in the light, how to live in the fire that purifies, how to live in the fire that brings warmth, how to live in the fire that brings light into darkness. One of them is our patron saint that we're celebrating in feast day, St. Maximilian. You know how he handled division? He wasn't given much to eat in the prison camp, but he was given this bread that he didn't eat for himself. That was his. What you and I might say is my bread. You can't take my bread. That was his. But what he would do is he would break it up in crumbs so he could celebrate the Eucharist with it. So he could bring Jesus to everybody else in that camp. That's light. See, that's division. That's the right kind of division that's talking about. But that is beautiful. And then, if that wasn't enough, it wasn't his turn to die. It wasn't his turn. But you know what he said? No, he has a family. Please take me. Let me die. None of us have been tested to the point of shedding blood, but some of our witnesses have. Now here's a modern day witness for us. Modern day. And so sad. We had a terrible tragedy happen to our parish family this week. A 42-year-old man named Derek Fletcher. Awesome man. Brought his kids home from the library. He's taken out his gun he had in his holster. And it just discharged by accident, went right through the artery. And he died in his beautiful wife's arms. 42 years old. 2 such young kids. I want to share with you, my sisters and brothers, this man was a witness. This man, when he walked into a room, if it was dark, it would become light. This man, wherever he went, he showed happiness, he showed positivity, he showed love. And he loved his family so much, he died in his wife's arms. I thought that was a blessing. I think, if God takes me, I'd like to die in my beautiful wife's arms. That would be a good way to leave this earth. But he left this earth. But he is a witness to us today. He's a witness to say, stop the division. Take off the blindfolds. It doesn't have to be this way. Be free. Show the world who you are. Keep your eyes fixed on Jesus. And you can't do it if you're wearing the blindfolds. There was actually, we get together as a group of clergy. We try to get together every Thursday and we meet. We talk about the scriptures. And Deacon Art actually told a story that was in the news that was actually a good story. I said, a good story in the news? He said, yeah, it was a good story. And I said, okay. It was about this woman who needed a liver transplant. She needed a liver transplant. And her time came. So the liver was going. She was getting ready to go in and get her liver. And this was going to be great because now she was going to be able to have a new life. This was awesome. And just as she was about to get that liver, the doctors came in and said, somebody else needs the liver and they will probably not last this week or next week if they don't get it. You still have some time. It's up to you. She said, give them, of course, I have some time. Let her take the liver. And that person's life was saved. That's a witness. And as God would have it, just so happened that another liver came in shortly after that the other woman who freely gave the liver to. And she got the liver, and now she's going to live. Guess what? This might not be a surprise. It's definitely not a surprise to me. It might not be a surprise to you. But that late Derek Fletcher, he was an organ donor. How about that? People are alive today with his organs. Even in death, he was light. Even in death, he was one. Father Ignatius told a great story when we were meeting. He said he went to visit a sick girl, a woman who was given less than 6 months to live. And he went to see the woman, and the son and daughter, the son was there, but the son left the room and said, I'm going to give you guys a chance to talk by yourself. And Father went in, and he said, this woman was full of joy. She said, I'm ready to go. I know where I am. I'm at the right place. Father, if the good Lord wants to take me today, I'm ready. She had a big smile on her face. She was glowing. That made Father feel really good. But then Father went out to try to find the son, and he finally found him. And what he found is that the mom was ready to die, but the son wasn't ready for the mother to die. And Father went up to talk to him, and this kid said, the young man said, Father, I promise I'm going to go back to church after this is all over. I'm going to go back. I know that it's important. I'm going to go back. Here's what this great priest did. He put his hand on his shoulder and said, come back. Come back. And the guy said, I'm going to come back. And all of a sudden, tears just started streaming down his eyes. And Father just looked at him and said, son, come back. My sisters and brothers, in this world that's full of noise, and it's only going to get louder. Block out the noise. Get rid of every burden and every sin that's clinging to you. Persevere in running the race. Keep your eyes fixed on Jesus. Keep the blindfolds off. If you're divided against yourself, if something that blindfolds on, come back. Come back. God wants you to be free. Stop holding on to that. If something's in your family you don't want to forgive, come back to your family. Come back. Let it go. God wants to hold that for you, not have you hold it yourself. Come back. If it's in your workplace, if it's in your school, if it's in your church, let it go. Don't be divided. Come back. My sisters and my brothers, come back to peace.